There are 7 health foods that actually prevent weight loss. They're all recommended by various nutritional organizations, by various professions as healthy foods. But if you're eating them while you're trying to lose weight, they will derail your progress. Hi, I'm Steve Bennett, health coach, author of the Fibre First Diet, dad, granddad, and founder of one of the UK's largest health charities. And I'm on a mission to change the health of our nation by cutting through all the BS surrounding food, by sharing the latest research and health news right here on this channel. And if that sounds awesome to you, be sure to like this video and to subscribe for more videos like this. Today, I'm highlighting 7 foods that many nutritionists and coaches promote as healthy. And while I do not deny that each of them may have some micronutrients that are beneficial or some antioxidant potential, they are disasters when it comes to weight loss. Literally this morning, I was in the House of Lords working across party on their obesity policies. And the good news is we have a consensus that overweight and obesity is the #1 health concern in our country. And we have a consensus at last that it is not about being lazy and not moving enough and not exercising enough. We have a consensus that it is primarily the food that is driving the problem with weight gain and obesity. But there is a mismatch and a problem beyond that. And that is because the focus seems to be just on ultra-processed foods and on foods that contain sugar, fat, and salt too much in one go. And while they are true, and it is true that those are problems, we're missing the single point. The single point is to put weight on, you have to have elevated insulin, the hormone insulin. To gain weight, that has to be elevated. Also, to lose weight, you have to have a drop in insulin levels in the blood. Without that drop, you do not lose weight. It is scientifically proven that a drop in insulin always precedes weight loss. And that is such an important message, because when you understand that, you can start looking at these 7 health foods and go, actually, if they're putting up insulin, they are locking me in weight gaining mode, not weight loss mode, and therefore I best avoid them. And all 7 of these food choices are still recommended on the government's Eat Well guideline, which we've got to get abolished at some point, because having a guideline on food for every person in the UK is a nonsense. How can you have food advice for somebody that's got diabetes, the same advice as somebody that's a growing teenager to a lady that's pregnant? It makes no sense to have one Eat Well plate, and all 7 of these foods that will derail your weight loss program are on that list. In at #1 is Weetabix. Now, Weetabix does have some fiber in it, does have some minerals, does have some vitamin in, but when the carbs content is so high and so dominant, that all turns into sugar in the body. Now, if you just have 1 shredded wheat, the amount of sugar that turns into is about the same as 4 teaspoons. But who has 1 shredded wheat? In fact, if we're trying to get healthy, apparently we're supposed to have 3 a day. Well, that's like 12 teaspoons of sugar, the equivalent of just eating 12 teaspoons of sugar. So your blood sugar goes up, your insulin goes up, and insulin is a thing that will stop you losing the weight. So you can't go having Weetabix for breakfast if you're trying to lose weight. And in fact, the same principle applies, should I say, to virtually all cereals. In at #2 is raisins. Now, you can still find raisins on the government's Eat Well guideline plate. My dad, who's type 2 diabetic, has seen that plate before and then therefore thinks it's okay to eat raisins. In fact, he's eaten raisins pretty much every day his adult life because he said it tastes good and it's a fruit and it's supposed to be healthy. My dad's also a type 2 diabetic. If you get a handful of raisins, you might as well have a handful of Tic Tacs. They're going to have about the same amount of sugar in both. Up goes your blood sugar level, up goes your insulin, and again, you're locked into fat storage mode. So I think that the sort of advice here is, yes, 5 fruit a day is important, but try and pick the fruits that don't turn into a shed load of sugar inside the body. In at #3, sourdough. I keep hearing people go, oh, I can have as much sourdough as I want if I'm on a diet. People sort of realise that a lot of that commercial bread, those loaves that are so squashy and have got about 30 ingredients in it. Lots of people now know that that's probably not that good for your health. But people say sourdough's fine, it hasn't got that many ingredients in. And in fact, you can, even in most supermarkets, find sourdough that only has the 4 ingredients you need in bread. It only has the yeast, the flour, the water, and a little bit of salt. And therefore, in some ways, you could almost say sourdough isn't ultra-processed food at all. It's kind of as good as bread ever gets. But the bad news I'm about to share is if you're trying to lose weight, doesn't matter if it's sourdough or regular bread, it still has lots of carbs and sugar in. Up goes your blood sugar level, up goes your insulin, and you are put and locked into weight storage mode. And if you don't believe me, I used to own a restaurant, and one of the tricks we used to do is we used to give free bread out at the beginning of a meal. People used to think, oh, that's really generous, they're giving me free bread. Surely I won't eat as much now. No, the opposite is true. We knew that by putting free bread out, people would eat it, the blood sugar goes sky high, insulin would get rid of it so quickly, and that would make you feel hungrier. So the problem, doesn't matter whether it's sour bread or regular bread, it all spikes your insulin level. It all means that you're locked in fat storage mode, which means you just won't lose the weight that you're trying to lose. In at number 4 is low-fat yogurt. In fact, pretty much anything that's advertised as low-fat options in your supermarket. For 30 years, I was obese. And one of the things I tried to do to lose my weight was go around the supermarket and buy low-fat this, low-fat that, because I was told that was what I needed to do. Sadly, it's not the truth, because when they take an item that normally has a lot of fat in and they take it out, they've got to put something back in. And then what they tend to put back in is lots more sugar. If you look at low-fat yogurt and look at the back of it compared to regular yogurt, you'll find lots more sugar in the low-fat option. And it is not the fat that's keeping you with a bigger waistline that you're trying to lose. It is the sugar. High fat doesn't mean high insulin, and therefore doesn't derail your weight loss program. But high sugar will. So anything that says low-fat option, just check that they haven't changed the fat for the sugar, and if they have, that's the worst option you should make if you're trying to lose weight. In at number 5 is sweet potatoes. I hear this one all the time. I'm on a diet, but my nutritionist, my personal trainer said, as long as my potatoes are sweet potatoes, I'll be absolutely fine. Sorry to be the breaker of bad news. Yes, they are slightly better overall than your regular potatoes, but only in the same way that 1 broken leg is probably better than 2 broken legs. They are still full of starchy carbohydrates. They will turn into sugar inside your body. They will put up your blood sugar level, and they will stop you therefore from burning body fat. Remember, if you have any insulin in your blood, which you will have in your blood if you've eaten sweet potatoes, you cannot burn stored body fat for energy. And remember this, there's no such thing as losing weight. You have to burn body fat for energy. You cannot access that body fat for energy if you've just eaten sweet potatoes. In at number 6 is couscous. Over the last couple of months, I've had quite a few people approach me that said, in your book, Steve, you talk about cutting down the rice, cutting down the pasta and the potatoes because they're really high carbs, but you didn't really discuss couscous, so that must be fine. Sorry, it's another one that once you've eaten it, the carb load is so high that you will be in fat storing mode, not fat burning mode, for longer. Swap it out for cauliflower rice, our fiber noodles, swap it out for anything that doesn't turn into sugar underneath. I mean, couscous is another sort of filler on the plate, isn't it? So maybe have more vegetables that don't turn into sugar. Maybe have some celeriac mashed up to look like your couscous, but just avoid it in the same way you would your rice and your pasta. And in at number 7 is avoid the banana. Now, of all the things I say on all my social media, I get the most grief probably for having a go at the banana. And I'm sorry about that. Some people say, well, Steve, surely if the banana isn't that ripe yet and it's green, it won't have so much sugar. You're absolutely right. It won't have so much sugar. Maybe it's a smaller banana. Maybe that won't have as much sugar. You're absolutely right. It won't have as much sugar. And they say to me, well, it has other things like potassium. They're right, it does have potassium. But if you're trying to lose weight, why deliberately pick a fruit that turns into more sugar than other fruits? And here's the problem I have as well. You're watching this, you know a lot about food already, but the masses don't. And I see so many people derailing their programs thinking that this is part of the solution when it's actually part of the problem. Swap out your banana for the berries, the strawberries, the raspberries, kiwis, and of course never ever forget to consume more of things like avocado that are high in fiber and low in sugar. Yes, fruit can help you lose weight, but it's certainly not going to be your banana. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and as always, leave some comments below of what else you'd like us to discuss in the future.